Zohran Mamdani, New York's radical socialist mayor, has been forced to bend the knee once again to not only Donald Trump, but to Benjamin Netanyahu after talking tough, selling straight up wolf tickets, telling the world that he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he stepped foot into the city of New York. Obviously, this guy really doesn't have the ability to deliver on 90% of the crap that he promised to New Yorkers, 90% of the stuff he gaslit them with to get elected. So now he is going down the path of ignorance by making grandiose claims and gestures, much in the way communists and socialists have for centuries, and then being forced to walk these things back when he is forced to admit or forced to accept that this is not the communist USSR, this is not communist Cuba, this is not communist North Korea, and this damn sure ain't the CCP. This ain't communist China. This is America. We're a country that is ruled by laws, and you cannot just overstep the law because you seek to fulfill some type of radical Islamist wet dream or fantasy by arresting Bibi Netanyahu, the number one boogeyman for Islamists and extremists the world over. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful day. It's great to see that this is happening. And it's great to see the president of the United States, Donald Trump, checking some degenerate mayor and letting him know, hey, buddy, you're not as powerful as you think you are. Let's tap into this video because I want you guys to see the threat that was made. And then I want you all to see the concession that was made, which, in my opinion, is even more epic. So listen to Zohran as he tells you he's going to arrest Bibi. This guy has all types of drama going on in New York. His city is literally collapsing under the weight of his socialist policies. And yet he's trying to go beyond the scope of his office and arrest foreign dignitaries, foreign leaders, a foreign prime minister, right? When they come to New York City to do business, all because of a ruling made by some clown court to which America isn't even a signatory. This court, ICC, International Criminal Court, not a single American could tell you who sits on this court. We don't even know what governing body gives this court power or authority, but somehow there are even Americans who think that America and Israel should bend the knee to this clown court. It's so stupid. But let's listen to this dude sell some wolf tickets. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brandon Tucker. The channel is Defiant Brandon. Welcome back. Welcome back to accountability.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces.
See, and this is how you know that this dude ultimately, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many others, this is how you know that this dude is nothing more than an Islamist, because there are Islamic radical factions committing war crimes all over the world, including but not limited to Iran. Iran is the number one state sponsor of terrorism on this planet. Our Congress, our Senate, they voted almost unanimously that this is a fact. But guess what? While he claims to be trying to hold Bibi Netanyahu accountable for the crimes against humanity and war crimes he committed, on the other hand, he's trying to meet with the ministers of Iran as they behead women and slaughter protesters by the thousands. He's seeking to meet with them to figure out a way to funnel money into that country to support them while Trump is putting belt to ass. He's totally biased. He's totally corrupt. And he's a danger to New York City, and he's a danger to America.
More than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave, they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience.
This is a lie. His wife celebrated the attacks on October 7th, where hundreds of Americans were kidnapped and dozens more were killed. His wife celebrated that. He just supported the other lady, I think, what's her name? Champellion? I forget her name. But he supported and endorsed a woman who ran for a congressional seat in New York. And the only thing on her resume was the fact that she celebrated the October 7th attacks. I didn't see the Muslim world saying anything when 9/11 happened. I saw them being silent, as they usually are, trying to play both sides. I never hear these people condemn 9/11. All I hear these people say is, you should forget about 9/11 and bring us into your country by the thousands, while we tell you that we don't respect your laws and that we're trying to undermine everything you've built. I never heard this guy criticize Ayatollah Khomeini, the daddy who died. I've never heard this guy criticize the new Ayatollah as he attacks civilian ships of countries that are totally neutral in the conflict as they try to go through the Strait of Hormuz. I haven't heard a single criticism of that by Zohran Mamdani, even though that is also a war crime. At least, Bibi Netanyahu, and I don't condone what he's doing, but I get why he's doing it. I can listen to his explanation and say, okay, I understand that. But can anyone explain to me why Iran, in order to retaliate against America, is firing missiles at civilian merchant ships from countries that stood up against America and refused to participate in America's blockade of the Strait and refused to participate in America's attacks on Iran? That didn't stop Iran from attacking them. But you don't hear any criticism of what they're doing over in Iran to innocent people, their own citizens and innocent people trying to go through the Strait. All they do is say, well, it's Trump. I can't go outside and shoot somebody and say, oh, it's because I don't like my neighbor. If someone punches me in the face, does that give me permission to go on a shooting spree in a mall? No, it doesn't. But these people can justify Iran doing the same thing on an international level. America hit us because we talk tough, right? So now we're going to attack a bunch of friendly countries and say, oh, well, you shouldn't let America put bases there. Bases that are empty, mostly empty. But you'll never hear this guy criticize that.
Should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
Right. I'll agree with him that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested the minute he calls for the arrest of all the leaders of Hamas, all the people who support Hamas, all the people who, even in America, who support Hamas, who send them money from America to support the terrorism that they do. I don't really have an affinity or an affection for Benjamin Netanyahu, but me, I'm just somebody who's a fair dealer. If you're saying Benjamin Netanyahu is committing war crimes, and you want to arrest him, then you got to go arrest everyone who's committing war crimes. You can't just arrest Benjamin Netanyahu because he's Israeli and you're not on his side, so what he's doing is wrong. Arrest everyone. Because up until the point of October 7th, what was Benjamin Netanyahu doing in Gaza? Now, if you want to say that Netanyahu allowed the attack on October 7th to happen so he could have an excuse to go into Gaza and bomb, I'm not going to argue that with you. It's very possible that that was the case. But at the same time, you can't remove all responsibility from Hamas, because even if he's trying to bait you, guess what? It's within your power not to get baited. I'm not using, and I want you guys to pay very close attention to this. I'm not going to validate any terrorist group by using any international body to help them or carry out, actions on their behalf. If that terrorist group and that terrorist government does not subscribe to the rules that are set in place by that international body, I'm not going to defend Iran against America using international law unless Iran agrees to abide by international law and not break international law. Because if we go by international law, Iran cannot develop a nuclear weapon. But yet and still, Iran will try to hide behind international law and use it as a cover while they break international law. And there's no one who can argue against that. These are the conversations that the blue-haired liberals and the freaks don't want to have. Iran says we have a right to self-determination and make nuclear weapons. But international law, as of 2020, says you don't. So if you make one, you're breaking international law while hooping and hollering and screaming and telling people all you want to do is follow international law and screaming that Trump is violating international law. In my mind, you're violating international law. Trump may be violating international law. Israel is violating international law. Y'all all violating international law. Don't point the finger at them when you're doing the same thing they're doing. But see, that's what unremarkable people and low IQ people do. They want to create a situation where the rules only apply to you, but not to them. And that's what Zohran Mamdani is doing, because that's a cultural thing where he's from and within the culture that he was raised. Rules for thee, but not for me. That pretty much sums up the third world where this guy was born. One person has to abide by this set of rules. Another person can totally disregard that set of rules and just do what the hell they want to do. That's not America. That will never be America as long as breath goes through my lungs. But what I'm telling you is the goal of these people is to reduce our standards in this country to third world standards. Because once we reduce our standards, once we lower our standards, these people will be able to invade our country with zero resistance. That's all this is about. Zohran Mamdani could never be elected as mayor of a city in Uganda where he was born. He would never be elected. Yet he can come to America, manipulate people with lies, right? Free buses. I'm waiting on the free buses still. Free this, free that, free childcare, right? I'm going to give you other people's money. I'm going to give you free stuff by spending other people's money. Why is daddy sitting on millions? Why his mama sitting on millions, while he's sitting on millions, while his wife got rental properties all in India and shit, and she's sitting on millions. This guy is an absolute hypocrite. He told you he would arrest Bibi. He didn't even really say he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. What he said is he would examine his ability to arrest him. But he talked tough like he knew for a fact he was going to be able to arrest him. Here's the reality. He always knew he didn't have the power to arrest Bibi Netanyahu. He always knew that. But he knows that the dumb and the gullible will fall for that nonsense. And they'll say, we love Zohran because he tried to arrest Bibi Netanyahu. Because Zohran knows that a lot of low IQ people, the thing that moves them, the thing that drives them is symbolism. Symbolism and grandiose gestures, grandiose speeches that ultimately go nowhere. He wanted to arrest Bibi Netanyahu. Donald Trump stepped in, G-checked this fool straight up, and was like, you don't have the authority to do that. But guys, if Bibi Netanyahu is committing crime and he's so guilty, why doesn't Zohran just, throw away his mayoral seat, arrest him anyway, deliver him to the ICC, and give up his job? See, these people claim that they're going to do all this radical stuff, but they're only going to do what they can do up until the point of losing their job because they value the position more than they care about any of these issues that they lie to you and tell you they care about. If someone's hurting kids or if someone molests a kid and they go to jail, an inmate will sacrifice his life. He will go from doing 3 years in prison to doing life in prison because his conviction is so great when it comes to the protection of little children. He'll go shank somebody and end up doing life. He's willing to totally commit to this idea of protecting children. Isn't it so funny that Zohran talks about how he doesn't like the genocide and this guy's a war criminal? At this point, bro, you should be like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Go in on your own and just arrest, bro. Kidnap this fool and deliver him to the International Criminal Court. They don't believe any of this crap. Just as much as he say he'll arrest Bibi, he'll sit right across the table from Bibi and have tea if he thinks it's going to benefit him. He's only saying this to gaslight gullible idiots. And in true fashion, the gullible idiots fell for it once again. And then when Zohran walks it back and says, well, we don't have the authority to arrest Bibi, you know what they'll do? They won't say, well, Zohran, you lied to us. They'll blame Trump. It's Trump's fault that he can't arrest Bibi Netanyahu. No. Long before Trump was ever president, a city mayor who's supposed to be focusing on his city has never had the authority to arrest a sitting president of any country. They are pretty much, it's called diplomatic immunity. There's no law they could commit in your country that gives you the power to arrest them. Bibi Netanyahu or any leader could literally kill somebody on Park Avenue in front of everybody. We would not have the authority to arrest him. We would have to send him back to his country, and they would have to hold him accountable for that in that country. But most presidents, prime ministers, and all that, you can kind of say in many ways they're above the law because they are a figurehead. You can't just arrest them on a whim. Now, Trump went into Venezuela. He extracted Nicolas Maduro because America had a warrant out for that dude's arrest, right? But see, here's the thing. A mayor of a town didn't go do that. A mayor of a town didn't say, we're going to go get Nicolas Maduro and go over there and grab him. The president has the authority to order the extraction of a leader from another country. And it's been that way since there was a such thing as countries. Even if you look in the Middle East, when Saladin captured King Richard, a regular old, a governor of a township or a magistrate or something didn't have the power to apprehend the king of England, but the king of Arabia or whatever Saladin was in charge of the Ottoman Empire, he does have the power to get that person and capture him. And the funny thing is, when Saladin captured Richard, he released him. He said, y'all got to pay me this much money and I'll release him. And he did that. That's the same thing Trump did. This has been happening since the beginning of time. But this low-level leader, because the mayor of New York is a very low-level political position, it ain't no big deal. He has no power on an international scale to arrest the prime minister or leader of a foreign nation. But let me tell you what's funny. The liberals who fell for the stupidity, they don't even look. The fact that they believe this guy was going to do that, it just shows you how low IQ these people are. And they never take a second to say, you know what? The fact that I fell for that is proof that I need to go do more research. Remember back during the election, 2024 and 2020? What were they screaming? Those Republicans need to take a civics lesson. They need to learn civics. They need to learn civics, saying that we didn't understand the political process of our country. But isn't it funny how they say we don't understand the political process, but they're the ones who always fall for political scams and hoaxes? Isn't it crazy that they're the ones who fall for the tricks and the empty promises, but then they tell everyone else that we don't know how the system works? Let's do this. Let's do an experiment really quick. Now, everyone remembers when Zohran Mamdani said that he was going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Now, let's do this. Let's go into Google. Well, I'm on Brave. Let's go into our search engine, right? We could, every liberal who bought into this could have done this exact thing the minute Zohran Mamdani said the bull crap he said, but they never do. Does the mayor of New York, hold on. New York have the authority to arrest the president of Israel or any other head of state? Now, y'all watched it. Y'all right here with me. It's popping up in front of y'all. I didn't play with it. A simple Google search. A simple Google search is all you had to do to know within seconds whether Zohran Mamdani lied to you. No, the mayor of New York City does not have the legal authority to arrest the president of Israel or any other foreign head of state. In July 2026, Mayor Zohran Mamdani explicitly acknowledged that his administration lacks the independent legal authority to execute an international criminal court arrest warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Federal law, and what did I say earlier when you go, you're dumb, you know, and diplomatic immunity supersedes local jurisdiction. Didn't I just tell you that? That's why you should watch this channel, because when you watch this channel, you know you're not being lied to. You know you're not being gaslit. You're dealing with someone who only deals with the facts. I told you, a head of state, a foreign head of state, they could literally kill someone on the street in front of you, and your local jurisdiction has no authority to arrest them. The only law enforcement body that can arrest them is the FBI or another government organization like ICE, right? the ATF, something like that. But all you had to do was Google. But because so many people are lazy-minded in this world where everything's at your fingertips, people like Zohran Mamdani can make an entire career out of gaslighting people with lies. It's really sad and pathetic. That's why he doesn't respect you. That's why he'll never do right by the city of New York. Because this guy looks at the American people like we're all just a bunch of dummies who are too lazy to do a little bit of research. That's all this is about. He has no authority. He never had any authority to arrest anyone, right? And he had to walk it back and say, while he believes Netanyahu should be arrested, only the federal government possesses the authority to enforce such a warrant. And let me tell you something. The federal government ain't enforcing that warrant. Look at this person. New York police gets its orders from the mayor, you idiot. From the mayor. It doesn't matter. See, do you see how I just showed everybody? And I want you guys to think about this when you go to vote for the midterms. Some people, you can show them the facts to their face. They will deny the facts right in front of their face and choose like Pejmani, right? They'll choose. See, this guy probably just hates Israel. That's fine. But you can't hate so much that it blinds you to common sense, facts, and rational thinking, because that just puts you in danger. I thought a bug landed on me. That just puts you in danger. You can't dismiss the facts because of your feelings. This is a facts over feelings channel, and you are an idiot, and Zohran Mamdani knows you're an idiot, so like an idiot, he'll continue to gaslight you and have you out here looking stupid and getting yourself locked up and put in jail, right? Because you're too dumb to go look up the facts before you jump on board with the nonsense he's talking. Now, I don't care about what happens to Benjamin Netanyahu. He's not my president. I don't really care what happens in Israel at all. But here we go. You're just an Israel kiss ass. So listen, I want you guys to pay attention to this. I'm an Israel kiss ass because Zohran Mamdani lied to you and told you he had the authority to do something that he doesn't have the authority to do. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? I'm an Israel kiss ass because Zohran Mamdani lied to you and told you he has the authority to do something he doesn't have the authority to do. You guys are dumb. You guys are dumb. You're jealous of Israel. When you listen to these Muslims and stuff talk, y'all, and this is just to the Americans and the non-Muslims right here. These people are jealous of Israel because one little tiny country, Israel, then punked these hoes for decades, and there's nothing they can do about it. There was a war years back. All of them rose up on Israel. Israel cooked they daddy's asses. They granddaddies too. Whooped they granddaddy's asses. Whooped they socks off their feet. And ever since that humiliation, these Muslims have been having a hard on forgetting Israel. And let me tell you, as someone who doesn't care about what happens to any Muslim country, and as someone who doesn't give a damn about what happened to Israel, you're mad because you keep getting your ass whooped. Because instead of going and getting an education and learning how to live like the civilized world and develop technology, instead you guys want to inbreed, marry your cousins, have a bunch of cognitively disabled and delayed children, and so you can't make any advancements. Since algebra, tell me one thing any Arab country has actually invented. Nothing. Tell me one Arab country that leads in intelligence. None. They're so great and amazing, but they can't stand to stay in their own country, and they run into the West. Why are a bunch of people who believe in Allah running to a Christian nation for safety? See, because now you pissed me off. But see, here's the difference. It's like my big mama used to say. You have to lie on me to get a reaction. But all I have to do is tell the truth about you. The truth of your existence is far more humiliating and embarrassing than any lie you could make up about me. I got a friend, he's a Muslim. Oh, bro, this and that, you should become Muslim. I said I stop at the point where a pedophile married a six-year-old girl, consummated with her when she was 9, and now you telling me about some Epstein shit. You literally think a pedophile is a prophet who's going to lead you to God, and you can open your mouth and have the audacity to try to criticize somebody. Boy, you ain't even worthy of washing my sandals at that point. And that is the truth. Remember, all we got to do is tell the truth about them. That is the truth that they can never get past. I went to the Middle East 3 times. Can they explain to me why the most holy people have tranny night on Thursdays at the Howard Johnson? I'll wait. Can they explain to me why I saw grown-ass men switching like women, holding hands in the mall? I'll wait. Can they explain to me why there were male prostitutes marauding the malls of those countries? I'll wait. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you, inshallah, to explain that. Do I need to pull up the movie The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan for you and listen to these faithful men? That's what they call you. Oh, you're a faithful man. These quote unquote faithful men tell you how their wife allows them to marry young boys. Do I need to pull up the video with the little 9-year-old boy dressed up like a woman dancing in a room full of perverts? Not today, Satan. Not today, descendant of Ishmael. You will never be in a position where you can judge me. You will never be in a position where you'll be able to judge me. You can fool all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. And you're mad at me because I'm not afraid to tell the truth about you. Now, my culture, we got some degenerate stuff too. But guess what? We call it out. I don't see nobody on that side calling out all that nonsense. All I see is them telling us that we need to make over here more like over there. But you ran away from over there. Octavius, whatever. You support a pedophile, but you have no proof of that. You have no proof of that. I support someone who turned in a pedophile. I support someone who prosecuted a pedophile and locked the pedophile up. When the people you supported let the pedophile roam free when they had the same information. See, this is what I'm telling you. The Bible says you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. My conscience is free because I know the truth. But the demonic people, they'll sit up and deny the truth, try to promote lies and deceive, and then they wonder why nothing works out for them. Do you know the Bible says that anyone loving a lie is something detestable to God? I don't care what God you worship. Anyone loving a lie is something detestable to God. And then y'all wonder why y'all haven't made no advancement in 2,000 years. God's not going to let you carry your satanic mindset, your satanic beliefs into any version of a prosperous new world. You come to America, your kids are rejecting that nonsense. They already marching over there. They don't want to wear that shit on their head. You got to beat them and kill them to force them. You guys sit up and talk about Israel. Y'all doing the same stuff Israel do. The pot calling the kettle black. And you want me to pick a side. I ain't picking no side. I'm going to pick the side of the truth. Because Israel got their little crazy stuff going on too. But I know if I had to make a decision of whether I'm going to live in Israel or whether I'm going to live in Islamabad, I know where I'm going to go live. Israel. Because at least they have some semblance of civilization in that place. Shout out to my boy Jake. Thank you so much for the 400 gems. I'm getting gifts, y'all. I'm getting gifts, y'all. Appreciate that. And then he gave me another 440 gems. Unk alert. Okay, I'll be Unk. But one thing about Unk is Unk gonna tell the truth. That's all you got to know about Unk. Unk is gonna tell the truth. Zohran Mamdani lied to you. You guys believed him because a lot of y'all are low IQ. And the conservatives have been trying to warn you. We've been warning you. All my conservative people on here, all my day ones, all my kin folks, we are warning them. And they keep walking into it. You got people, let's go, Mamdani. Here's the funny thing. If Mamdani succeeds, you lose. If Mamdani fails, I win and you win. The guy's an absolute failure. He knows he can't do any of the stuff he's claiming he's going to do. So now he's trying to throw you off. You know, he's trying to distract you because that's all this is. This is a distraction. He tries to distract you by making grandiose promises. Right? Getting you to pay attention to that so you can't see how he's failing. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at what Trump said to this dude. What Trump said on Truth Social. Trump made it very clear. Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He is fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, who recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters. These numbers have been verified, by the way. Why isn't the mayor of New York condemning that? Why isn't the mayor of New York condemning that? Because he doesn't care about the deaths. He only cares about the deaths that are happening that are committed by Israel. I can condemn both. I could say Israel is wrong for what they're doing in Gaza, and I could say Tehran is wrong. The IRGC is wrong for what they're doing in Tehran. I can say that. I can stand here and say both of y'all wrong because really the violence is senseless, right? Iran, y'all talked a lot of stuff, got yourself in some shit. Israel, y'all talked a lot of stuff, got yourself in some stuff, right? If you do the history, the Jews have been, this is purely historical. This is purely historical. I am not taking sides in this because it's not really my business. But based on the research I've done, the Jews were in that region like 2,000 years before the first Arab came into that region. The Palestinians took their name from the Philistines of the Bible, but they are not the same group of people. The Philistine from the Bible were Greeks who sailed through the Aegean, down the Nile or whatever, and rested in the place that you now know as that they called back then Canaan, right? The Israelis, the Jews went to war with them. They fought a lot. After a while, the Philistines were driven out of that place, right? They were driven out. Some of them were assimilated. Later on, way more recently, probably like in the 1700s or 1800s, these Arab people came into that region. They started calling themselves Palestinians, which is an Arab kind of transliteration of Philistine. But they are not genetically the same people historically who were in that area. The Philistines were the sea people. That's mentioned in the Bible. That's mentioned in the scrolls, the sea people, right? those people are not the people that live there today saying, this is our land, we've always been there. So when the Jews, came back to that area, and there were always Jews there who remained there the whole time. But when the Jews from Europe and whatever else came back, right, you can say, well, those aren't the real Jews. I mean, they are, because they migrated and went to different places. Their blood is the blood of the people from that place. Obviously, they've mixed and did all that, but that's like telling a black person they can't go back to Africa. It just ain't going to happen. The whole point I'm making is this. They're going to lose on every statistical point. Now, do I believe there should be two states there? Yeah. But at this point, I don't think Gazans, the Palestinians, I don't think they want two states. I think their whole mission is just to eradicate Israel, which if they did it, it wouldn't be no sweat off my back. But if you try to get rid of a group of people, they're going to fight you. The same way Israel trying to get rid of them, and they're going to resist. If they try to get rid of Israel, Israel's going to resist. Here's the issue. You guys pick the fight with a country that's stronger than you. And you do little malicious terrorist attacks, and then they come bring the hammer, and you want the sympathy of the world to come help you. Sorry, the world don't feel sorry for you. I know I damn sure don't. I don't like the idea of women and children getting killed. But at the same time, I got to be real. What up, bro? Hey, you at the house? Yeah. Hey, me and Francis is going to come for a little bit, and then I'm going to take you to coffee. All right, cool. All right, then. Bye. All right. Hey, my brother's taking me to coffee. Anyway, so I don't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the women and children. But at the end of the day, it's the men's responsibility to protect their women and children. If you go launch an attack on Israel and you don't have the power to battle Israel muzzle to muzzle, what do you want me to do? It sounds to me like you need to make better decisions, because I don't like the way the police treat me sometimes, or treat people in the city, but I'm not going to go barrel to barrel with them in the middle of the street. And I'm damn sure not going to go blow up the police station. And if I did do that, I wouldn't start complaining and saying the world needs to help me because I made that decision. I had this conversation with some of my friends who are Syrian. A couple of my friends are actually Palestinians. And I always try to appeal to reason. Go to the UN. Go to these different international bodies. Let them know we just want peace. We just want a two-state solution. Tell them that you don't want to fight with Israel no more. But they'll never do it because they're controlled by the terrorist groups. The terrorist groups are controlling those places and those people. So you will continue to be the human shield for the terrorists who attack Israel, then Israel come and blow everything up, right? Now, if you had the ability to go into Israel and do something, I would say the same thing to Israel. Well, y'all can't complain. Y'all over there doing stuff to them. Y'all over there agitating them. So if they get numbers and come and get you, you can't complain. But I don't see any good guys here. I see a bunch of immature people who are allowing beasts from hundreds and thousands of years ago to dictate their behavior today. And don't tell me, like this dude told me at my gym, oh, what would you say if they did this? And my mom and my cousin, bro, we dealt with slavery, bro. Black America spent 400 years in slavery. And we are not out here doing terrorist attacks on white people as out of revenge, trying to get revenge for slavery. If there is a such thing as if there was a person, if getting over it was a person, that would be us. Because we now rubbing elbow to elbow with white folks, even though they did some of the most heinous things to us. But that's what you have to do if you want prosperity. That's what you have to do if you want your children to have a future. There's nothing that happened to you that's greater than what happened to us. And there's nothing that happened to us that's greater than what happened to you. The only difference is we figured out a way to get past it for the most part. We might still complain and stuff, but we ain't out here trying to kidnap people. We ain't out here trying to do terrorist attacks over it. It's the past. It's over. Move forward. And I think that should be the overall message to people in that region. You gotta move forward. Your kids deserve a better life than to live in a damn war zone. And it doesn't matter how much some college kid sympathizes or empathizes with you. The only thing I know for a fact is they would never put their kids in that situation. And guess what? It's easy to sympathize from 14,000 miles away. It's easy to sympathize and empathize and say justice for Palestine when the bombs ain't dropping on you. They're dropping over there. Y'all better get real. The people in this world don't care about nobody. They'll use what's going on with you as a way to further their own agenda. And they don't have to deal with the repercussions. You do. You do. Be smarter. Be better. Be better if you can. But, you know, yeah, he clearly said they're killing 52,000. Trump said they're killing 52,000 innocent protesters and has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction, something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents, President Donald J. Trump. I mean, whether you agree with what Trump said or you don't agree with what Trump said, right? Them's the facts. Those are the facts, and you don't have the ability to stop them. What is this? You support a sexual predator proven and adjudicated, you fool. There's no proof of that. You're lying. There's no criminal conviction of Trump raping or doing anything to anybody. They got the Eugene Carroll found liable. That ain't guilty though. That ain't criminal. That's civil. You're just making up lies, which is okay. You have a right to do that. But I don't know what it does for you. Shout out to OP2623D for the 2 gems. I appreciate that, yo. Anyway, these people will come with the same stuff. Give the proof, man. If you got the proof, I'll let you up here to prove it. And we'll do a show tomorrow where we call out Trump and just rake him across the coals over his convictions. You don't have it. Like, bro, I do more research than the average person watching YouTube. If it was there, I would have done a video on it. There's nothing there. You got people, oh, this lady's bringing up a case. She's been bringing up the same case for 30 years. Won't show up to court. Files the case, then withdraws it. Bro, the FBI found the lady, said the lady's got screws loose. I mean, what you want me to do with that? Hey, you could get my address. You ain't gonna like what you get when you get here, Sky. Somebody get his address. Yeah, come on, because I ain't one of these people. I ain't no Supreme Court justice. You gonna be laid out. I'm not the one to play with. You gonna be laid out. Trust me, I'll do the time gladly. Won what case? Won what case? She won a judgment for money. There was no case. Oh, yeah, whatever. I ain't no dumbass. You be the dumbass. You show up at my house. I'm letting you know that right now. Because I'm going to shoot first and ask questions later while you bleeding out. But these people, that's all they know is violence. Get his address. Y'all, every accusation is an admission. Everything they say you are, they are. And that's okay. But I'm a man of peace. You know what I'm saying? I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Don't push me. Now, I want y'all to hear again, as Zohran the moron admits that he does not have the authority to arrest Saint Netanyahu. That's Saint Netanyahu. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to him admit it one more again. This guy's a chump, straight up.
Every avenue available. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant.
You don't
The
say.
federal government, however, does.
And they never
and I
will.
call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant.
No one's listening.
And I want
to
to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City.
But he will be
nor is
there.
any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon.
Shut
And
up.
we can examine every tool we have
Shut
to
up.
defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to
Yeah, we knew you didn't review nothing. It took a soft Google search to prove that you didn't have that authority. You knew you didn't have the authority, but you gaslit a bunch of idiots because you know that you're failing miserably as mayor of New York. Y'all, Zohran had to take out a loan against the retirement funds of New York City workers to balance his so-called budget. I mean, just let that sink in. He had to take out a loan against the retirement fund of his city workers to balance the budget. And all he's going to do, right? All he's going to do is he's going to throw away that money. He's never going to really make the money to pay the loan back. And those people's retirement funds will be put in jeopardy. And he knows by doing that, he'll force the federal government to have to send some money. But this guy is a total idiot. This guy he just acts like someone from a third world country. No concept of, control. No thought put into what he's doing. I made these promises, and that's it. Let me go here. Because, I like this guy, Cash Jordan. Sometimes he be gaslighting. But the guy started off as a real estate channel where he took people around and he used to take people around and show them apartments that were for rent and for sale around New York City. But he got on this thing where he's like doing political commentary. And he's funny as hell. And I watched this video. I watched a piece of it, but it was really good. I think this is it. It's one of these. I think it's this one. But it basically talks about how Mamdani is failing in New York. And he's cutting services while he claims he's going to give away free stuff. So he says he's going to give you free buses. But if the buses are free, they're going to have to become more unsafe because he's stopping the bus patrols that protect people from deranged lunatics while they ride the bus. He also is, I'm going to just let him tell you, and y'all could check it out.
Governor Hochul and the mayor unveil a new fast bus action plan. It includes rapid transit bus lanes, more cameras to ticket vehicles blocking those lanes, and better bus stops.
Wait a second. I thought buses in New York were supposed to be free, but that doesn't sound like the plan at all. Instead, the mayor has a new scheme to spend tens of millions renovating bus stations and installing traffic lights while cutting bus service to make it faster. But they won't be free buses, oh no, because these are going to be funded with an army of AI cameras to find drivers with the help of Big Brother. And while the improvements from all this are years away in the future, those taxation cameras are here right now.
Blink and you might miss them. On the windshields of hundreds of MTA buses, mounted cameras are now searching for vehicles blocking the bus lane. The cameras are powered by artificial intelligence, but driver George Hahn says the AI system isn't smart enough.
Mayor Mamdani, Governor Hochul, and MTA Chair Jano Lieber announcing a plan to improve bus service. They identified 50 corridors for improvements, including 5 rapid transit routes that will save 6 minutes.
Hahn says last month he got 3 violations on the same day for blocking bus lanes, but in each case, the videos captured by the bus cameras themselves show he was legally parked.
If you make the bus at 3 minutes fast, then you got to walk 5 minutes more to the bus. Your trip takes longer.
Alan Rosen is a former transit bus planner. He wants to see better management of the routes.
Change the routes to fill service gaps. They need to expand service rather than the cuts they're proposing and the redesign.
My commitment is to make buses fast and free. Today, we stand together on how we deliver the fast.
So oddly, all this new stuff is going to cost $800 million, but that's exactly what the city loses every year to people who steal from the bus by riding it for free, which reveals that these communists, they have the math for their free buses, which would be a disaster, but they're wasting.
So let me stop this because, you know me, I love to check the facts, right? So you're telling me that the people of New York voted for a mayor who promised them free buses, right? You're going to get to ride the bus and other public transportation for free. After being elected, this same mayor has now implemented mounted cameras onto the buses. You can't make this stuff up. This man has implemented mounted cameras onto the buses. Hold on. This man has put mounted cameras onto the buses that are now detecting people who are double parked and illegally parked. And so the buses, you're still going to have to pay for them. But the buses have now been weaponized against the people of New York City as a way to extract more money from them. Yes, New York City has implemented bus-mounted cameras to detect and ticket parking violations through the automated camera enforcement program. Gotta be kidding me. The system targets illegal parking in bus lanes, double parking along bus routes, and blocking bus stops. Administered by the MTA in partnership with the New York City Department of Transportation and Department of Finance, the program expanded significantly in 2024, covering dozens of routes across all 5 boroughs. Cameras capture violations in real time, which are reviewed by human operators before fines are issued. Penalties start at $50 for the first offense and escalate to $250 for repeated violations within a 12-month period. The city reports that ACE enforcement has increased average bus speed by 5% and reduced collisions by 20%, while also issuing hundreds of thousands of tickets for previously unmonitored infractions like double parking. Okay, so you had this guy run on affordability, right? He ran on affordability. He said, I'm going to make everything more affordable for you. Wouldn't affordability mean getting rid of stuff like that? Because it ain't getting more affordable for the people trying to park. You know, New York is congested. You know, New York has a serious parking issue. And the way you're going to deal with that, right? The way you're going to deal with that is by penalizing people for living in a city that's overcrowded. The way you're going to deal with that is by penalizing people for living in a city that is overcrowded. Guys, you're going to see even more of a mass exodus from the city of New York. You're going to see even more of a mass exodus from the city of New York because people can't deal with this crap. This is petty taxation being enforced by someone who told you that he promised to make your city more affordable. Guys, if these people can barely afford to pay for the bus, please tell me what makes you believe that these people can afford to pay fines that are given to them by a computer that range from $50 to $250. Then you have a guy who's received 3 of these tickets when he was legally parked. And then in Mr. Asamanjuram or whatever says taxing the wealthy is penalizing them. Guys, do you realize how dumb these people are? Basically, these people are telling you that if you own a car, you're wealthy. Just because you own a car doesn't mean you're wealthy. Owning a car just means you own a car. A lot of people own a car but could barely afford the car that they own. Right? But it's exactly what we've been trying to warn you about for years. It's exactly what we've been telling you about for years. They get in office. Don't sit right there. Sit in that chair right there. They get in office by telling you, we're going to tax the rich. But the minute the rich start leaving the city, which they have the power to do because they're rich guy get up, move whenever he want to. He say, fuck it, I'll come back and party and stay in an Airbnb and go back and live in Florida, right? As soon as the rich leave, like they've done under Mamdani, as we call him, now they have to figure out ways to hit the regular people up for money. And do you really believe a rich guy is parking his car on the street in New York? Come on, guys. You are not this dumb. Some of you liberals might be this dumb. But do you really believe that a rich guy is parking his car on the street in New York City? This is only going to hurt the middle class. This is only going to hurt the people who are less likely to be able to afford a random $250 parking ticket. They've weaponized the buses against their own constituents. And you guys keep voting for this. You voted for this dude because of accountability, right? I mean, affordability. And all he's doing is making the city less affordable. Oh, but Brandon, he froze the rent. Shit. It don't matter if he froze the rent if they give you a $250 parking ticket. They're going to ultimately get more out of you than they would have got if they didn't freeze the rent. But you guys are so blinded by this idea of he going to give us something for free. You can't even see that it's costing you more to live under the guy who's claiming to give you free shit than it would be to live under a regular, normal mayor who understands the laws of capitalism. It's like when they tell you, hey, if you buy one, you get the second one half off. What if I buy none? Well, you save all your damn money. I really don't need another bag of, I don't even need a bag of potato chips, let alone buying one and then paying half the money for another one of something that I don't need. And people who are bad with money, they don't understand that. They hear free and Me, I'm at the point in my life, most of the things I want, I could buy. So when I go to Costco, right, I say, damn, I could buy all this fucking butter, right? But where am I going to store it? I could buy 50 pairs of new socks at Costco, but I don't have any room in my sock drawer. If someone said, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of free pairs of socks, I would still say, I don't have a place to keep them. Hey, dude, we're going to give you a free bike. You know what? I really don't have a place to store it because I got 3 or 4 bikes already. But someone who has a poor mindset, when they hear the word free, they have to take it. It's like someone who's taking a free turkey, but they don't have nowhere to keep it. They can't fit it in their freezer or their refrigerator. So they let it sit out and then it eventually spoils. Or they might cook it. Maybe they don't even know how to cook a turkey. So they fuck it up and then it's inedible. You just accepted something because it was free, but you weren't in a position to actually take advantage of it or use it. No, parking tickets can be avoided by observing the rules. Bro, there's a parking issue in New York City. There's a parking ticket in every major city in America. Parking issue. Sometimes, but look at these people, guys. They're defending this. He froze the rent, but now he's putting cameras on buses that issue tickets to people who are quote unquote parked illegally. What about the delivery drivers? The people bringing your Uber and DoorDash and all that shit. What happens to them? Because many of them have to double park to run inside and bring up your order. What do? You guys you're so ignorant and so welfare dependent, you don't even see the cascading effect that this is going to have on your entire economy. Right? You don't even see the cascading impact, this negative impact this is going to have on your economy. And then somebody said, oh, foreigners. Y'all just voted for these foreigners to come into the country. Troy Welt, 100%. Just because it's not directly affecting you right this minute, that's all they thinking about. Well, it ain't hurting me right now. It ain't hurting me right now. And I keep telling you guys, these liberal people are the most selfish people on earth. They weaponize empathy. They weaponize toxic empathy against normal human beings. I'm gonna pretend to feel sorry for somebody just so I could weaponize that empathy against someone I don't like. If I say, man, I feel, say there's somebody I want to beat up, Francisco, say I want to beat you up, right? But I have no reason to fight with you. So you step on Reggie's shoe. And I say, I feel sorry for Reggie, man. You shouldn't have stepped on the shoe. And I use that as an excuse to fight you. It wasn't that I gave a fuck about this dude's shoe getting stepped on. It's that I always wanted to fight you. I always wanted to get at you. And I'm going to use what you did to him as an excuse to fight you, even though it has nothing to do with me. This is what the rich white liberal is doing to the government, the white socialist. They hate capitalism. They hate the government. They hate anything where you got to work for what you want. So they're going to use this fake pseudo empathy that they have for the poor and the homeless and all that, so they can use their issues as a weapon against our government, as a weapon against our way of life. It's very easy to see it. You have to be dumb to not see that. Because once they get done marching and screaming and hollering about the poor, they go right back to their mansion. Hassan Piker goes right back to driving his Porsche. That is not electric. That is not saving the environment. Hassan Piker goes on the line, goes crazy about the rich this, the rich that, the rich this, and then goes back to his mansion. Goes back and drives his $200,000 vehicle. He's only using the issues that affect you. He's only coming to you because he can weaponize your issues against capitalism. Even though he's a capitalist and he benefits, a direct beneficiary of capitalism. Calverton, your mother's a hack. Right? Builder trash. It has infested my country too, 100%. And you're mad because people like me see what you're trying to do, and we're not falling for it. You're mad because we're not falling for it. It's nothing but toxic empathy. That's all it is. That's all it has ever been. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened to the teachers of Chicago. Their toxic empathy was literally weaponized against them as they fought and preached for illegal immigrants to be allowed into the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago spent $2.5 billion housing and feeding illegal immigrants. And now the same city that they fought to give $2.5 billion to illegal immigrants, they're telling these teachers, hey, we got to lay off 1,500 educators because we don't have the money in the budget, which is only $732 million, to pay you guys. So now all you guys are getting laid off. Imagine how stupid you have to feel to fight for another group of people to get $2 billion out of your budget, only to have your city turn around and say, well, because we gave them all the money, we got to lay you off. Now your kids get to lose. And I covered that in my video right here, titled Toxic Empathy Strikes Again.
Takeovers started popping up in Chicago in 2022. This video from April of 2023 showing a trail of destruction left behind. Since then, the issue has continued to resurface.
I knew they was gonna fight. Ooh. I knew they would. Yeah.
We just gonna have to start calling Chicago Chicago, because it's going to hell. It is going to hell. Okay? It is going to hell in a handbasket, as they say. Because just the stuff that's going on in Chicago, it boggles the mind, man. I hear people talking about, yeah, we need to be more like Chicago. It's a socialist utopia. They're taxing the rich. Blah, blah. The rich are going to pay their fair share. But every time I get a breaking news report from Chicago, all I see is people getting killed on holiday weekends by the dozens. And the city taxing a group of people that they promised they weren't going to tax them.
The revenues that were put forward by city council, in most instances, they've generated $0. So for instance, the city council voted, instead of taxing the largest corporations in the city of Chicago, they decided to sell debt of working people when no one has bought that debt.
So I'm still waiting on you to show me how socialism works. And you can't say, oh, well, it's being stifled, because the state government, they love the socialists. They love the socialists, or they pretend to. But now you got the Democrat state government coming down on the radical Democratic Socialist mayor of Chicago. So I'm just waiting for socialism to deliver. Socialism at this point is looking like that boy, DeAndre Ayton. It ain't delivering, okay? It ain't ton delivering, okay? So I don't know what y'all talking about, because I got a lot of people and I lost a lot of good friends because they were mad at me because I wouldn't co-sign this socialism crap. And I'm just like, why do you want me to do that? It doesn't work. So getting into it, Chicago Public Schools just announced a budget proposal that includes laying off 760 teachers and 801 teachers' aides to close a massive $732 million budget deficit. The $9.88 billion spending plan introduced under the district's new CEO, Dr. Macklin King, aims to stabilize the district's finances before a school board vote scheduled for July 30th of 2026. Decades of Democrat management and public demand added a 10,000 employees. Well, it added 10,000 employees to the school district's budget, while the enrollment in school dropped 45,000 by 45,000. Now, okay, so you guys see that the teachers fought for the illegal immigrants to get the money. Now they don't have money to pay the teachers. Now there's some question. Oh, I love this. When you talk to these liberal people, you have to understand that these people have no capacity for common sense. So Troy Welp, I mean, he's clearly slow, right? So he says this. He says, well, I'm trying to find it. He says, damn, I'm trying to look for the first comment. Roger Wood. He says, this is a socialist right here. And let me just break this down. Let me show you how easy it is to defeat these idiots. Where did the billionaires get their money? From the trees? No, they got their money from the businesses that they invested in, took on a risk to start, and grew and scaled to the point where these businesses became valued at millions or even billions of dollars. So then he says, who paid those businesses? And who did the actual work from those businesses? The customers who saw value in the service that the business provided paid the business, right? Who did the work? The employees who were fairly compensated for doing the work did the work. See, you see how these people don't even look at the reality? No one forces you to go to work. You go to work because the company has something that you need, which is money, and you're thankful to the company that they're providing you a job so that you can afford to meet your needs. But you don't gotta go to work, right? Right? There are studies in math that are undeniable. There's no studies in math to prove what you're saying. There are no studies or math to prove what you're saying. Yes, but who are the business's customers? I just answered that. People who see the need in, people who need the service that the business provides. I'm not a woman, right? So I don't need to buy tampons. So Playtex is never going to get any of my money unless I'm buying something for wifey or for my daughter, right? But they have a product that I need, that I see that women see the value in, so the women go buy it. They could just take tissue and line their underwear with it and just bleed on that. But they say, you know, this tampon or this maxi pad is more effective, so I'm going to buy that instead. And if those customers decided I don't need that anymore, Playtex would go out of business. They would cease to exist. In the meantime, the person who invented that or who owns that company, he's providing a good to these people. They're buying it. In order to produce those goods, he needs to hire employees. People say, hey, I work for $20 an hour to produce tampons or to operate the machinery that they use to produce tampons. I'll go apply. They get hired. They're trading their time for money. The customer is trading his money for the good or the product that he needs. And the owner of the means of production is making a profit from that. And from that profit, he pays the employee. It's the fairest system on earth. You want a slave. That's what you want. You want someone who's going to go work for free. You don't have to give them shit. And you get to use the good that they produced. Think about this. If under his mind, under what these people want to live on, what the system they want to live under, who works at the tampon factory? I'll wait. Who works at the tampon factory? And how much do they get paid? Because the government pay less than anybody. The government pays less than anybody. And as the government brings on more employees, they're going to pay even less. You're jealous and angry at the guy who owns the tampon plant that makes the tampons. So you want to give the government the power to take over his business. Then the government runs the business and they got to make a profit, right? So they're paying pennies on the dollar and they're mismanaging the business. And then the business either goes out of business or the cost of the product increases exponentially. You can trade your labor for equal pay according to what you believe is equal. But if we go to socialism, who does that job? Who does that job? 100%. Everything the government runs goes to shit. Look at the DMV. You got 50 people behind the counter. You got 50 people waiting to be served. It takes 10 hours to get through 50 people. You got to have common sense in this world. Who pay? Those people take the risk. If I start a business, if I say, you know what, I'm gonna start a business selling pancakes on the side of the road. So every morning I wake up at 4 a.m. I make a bunch of pancakes, or I go buy me a griddle and a stand and all that. And every morning I go set up on the side of the road and I just, people come up, I make them a pancake, flapjack, give it to them with some syrup, right? Cook it, give it to them with some syrup. You mean to tell me that because I took the risk of going and standing on the side of the road selling flapjacks and someone saw the value in what I was doing and they came to buy the flapjacks from me, you're saying because the customer bought from me and with the money that they bought, they paid me with, I collected it and saved it, and I used that money to hire an employee or 2 employees. Then I used the money to open up me a storefront, buy menus, buy a register, buy booths, chairs, and all that. And my business grew. So I used the money, all this money I'm making to go buy me a house and buy me a Mercedes-Benz and buy wifey a Mercedes-Benz, buy my daughter a Mercedes-Benz. You're telling me that because I took the risk, started a business, employed multiple people, and still made enough money to buy a house, buy 3 cars, 3 Mercedes and all, you're telling me that I should be attacked financially by the government for doing that? Just break it down to the simplest form. An entrepreneur starting a business. At what point do I become so successful that the government needs to take my business away from me or tax my business out of existence? Just think about that. I went from selling, because of all these pancakes, I did smart business with my pancake business. I scaled up, hired employees, went from the corner to a restaurant. With the restaurant, bought me a house, bought me 3 Mercedes for me, my daughter, and wifey. I was able to take the family on a vacation because I ran my business properly and made profits and increased profits year after year. I deserve to be attacked financially by the government. Do you guys know what that's called? That's called punishing success. Because you made so much money that you no longer get to decide what you do with your money. And you see Calverton, she's an idiot. Stop buying a Mercedes Benz. It won't make your penis bigger. Don't worry, baby. That's already big. That was big before the Benz. Trust me. It's a whole mouthful if you really need to know. Anyway, but this is what I'm telling y'all. This is called punishing success. Because every business owner pays taxes. Why do you think they have tax services? Every business is paying taxes. I pay my taxes. But the reality is you're unwilling to do what I did. So you're unwilling to gain the things that I have. So out of jealousy, you want the government to rob me and give what I earned to you. That's all it's about. You want the government to rob me and give my money to you. Let's be real. That's why you see so many businesses closing. You say, we're only going to go after the rich, but your policies that you vote for, they ultimately just hurt the middle class. Hold on. And once you destroy the middle class, right? Once you destroy the middle class, the rich are still going to be there. But do you know that the middle class employ the most people in the country? So once you destroy them with your taxation policies, where are you going to work? Where's your kid going to work? Where's your son going to work? Where's your daughter going to work? You guys are so busy counting somebody else's pockets, right? You're so busy counting other people's pockets that you're voting for people who say we're going to rob them and get the money to you. Now you can't even afford to live in your city, let alone go out for a dinner.
Well, I can tell you that businesses are definitely struggling and many are closing their doors. Just take a look at this place. The tables are empty. They've had one customer all evening long, and I'm told this is becoming the new normal for many restaurants.
Everything is expensive. It's not easy to go out and eat anymore.
At Mary and Rob's Westwood Cafe, customers may not realize it, but the owners are also feeling the strain.
The case of big tomato was $110. And you know, the lemon, people asking to put their water, the case of the lemon is $80. It used to be $25.
Rana Pururab says this past Mother's Day, she witnessed something she can't forget.
On Mother's Day, I remember a family of 4 came to the restaurant, and the parents, they didn't eat. Only the kids eat. And I feel so bad. It was a Mother's Day, and the mother didn't eat.
In Westwood, we are seeing more than 20 small businesses closed recently. On the citywide, even more than that.
Ruzbeh Farahanipu is Rana's husband and the CEO of the West LA Chamber of Commerce. He also owns Delphi Greek on Persian Square. He says restaurants are being crushed by a lousy economy, high tariffs, heavy regulations, and a city that allows street vendors to sell in front of restaurants.
Unfair competition.
I want y'all to watch this. I want y'all to watch this video and tell me when this starts hurting the rich. Tell me how putting these people, this family and their family-run business, this middle-class family, tell me how putting them out of business through overregulation is going to hurt McDonald's. Tell me how it's going to hurt Carl's Jr., Burger King. Tell me how it's going to hurt Chili's or Red Lobster. It's not. You're trying to weaponize the government against the rich, and the rich are like, look, we're just going to adjust. We have scale. We have drive-thrus. We have all these things that make it almost impossible for you to drive past our business. But in reality, you're only hurting the middle class. Because the taxes you put on them for doing business, those taxes apply to these small businesses too. You're not hurting the rich. You're hurting regular people.
Street vendors, they get a waiver from the state. The state allowed them to do that.
He says some menu items are sometimes sold at a loss just to keep the doors open.
Some of the items, they give us a zero margin. Some of them, they gave us a tiny margin. The margin for restaurant is not like before.
Both Roosbay and Rana urge people to vote for candidates who support small businesses.
They won't.
And he adds,
also the people in the neighborhood, they need to realize if they are not supporting their own beloved restaurants or the hospitality businesses, they're going to be gone sooner than they believe.
A very difficult time for business owners. Joining me live is Manta. She is a server. I've seen you just sort of sitting there waiting and waiting for someone to show up.
Yes, and thank you for showing up because we need to speak to people to make them come to support.
See, I live in Los Angeles. We're at the tip of the spear when it comes to stupid liberal policies. They're not working. All it's doing is making it harder for you to get a good meal. All it's doing is making it harder for your kid to find a waitress job or for the girl to find who's a bartender to find a bartending job. The rich are doing fine. They're still going on vacations. They're still traveling around the world. They're still running their businesses because of ignorance. These liberals are ignorant. I got one lady in the comments. Where's she at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Here we go. Oh, this is Daniel. We got Daniel Price. Matthew 25:35. Go read it. That's Jesus commanding kindness to strangers and immigrants. I was a stranger and you welcome me. Being kind to a stranger or immigrant don't got nothing to do with letting them break the laws of your country. Has nothing to do with that. You would like to make it seem like that has something to do with kindness, right? But in reality, that doesn't have any bearing on that. You full of crap. You're full of crap. But you guys are ignorant and don't know nothing. So you let someone else who's ignorant and don't know nothing, you let them trick you. You let them trick you into self-sabotage where you destroy your own country, then you have no country. And you're mad at us because we have common sense. Let's see right here. Let's see right here. Let's go there. Let's go there. This right here is Matthew, the 25th chapter, verse 35. For I became hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you received me hospitably. Naked, you clothed me. I felt sick, you looked at. This don't say nothing about no damn immigrant. This don't say a single thing about immigrant. It don't say nothing about an immigrant. But you'll try to manipulate the scripture. You'll try to fool somebody who you think don't know the scriptures and use that to make them feel guilty. But you can't make me feel guilty because I know the scriptures better than you. I know the scriptures better than you. And so you can't trick me. You can't trick me. Oh, this means this. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. But I will show you a scripture, right? I will show you a scripture where Jesus does talk about something and it's a direct meaning, right? Here we go. Right here. I think it's Matthew 20. Is it Matthew 23? I think it might be verse 35. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, let me go here. So I think it's 22:21. What did Jesus really say? Let's see what Jesus really said. And let me show you how these people now, they're evil, just like the Pharisees of the Bible, trying to manipulate scripture and manipulate and twist people's words to justify lawlessness and criminality. So it says here, then the Pharisees went and conspired together in order to trap him in his speech. So they sent their disciples to him together with party followers of Herod, saying, "Teacher, we know you are truthful and teach the way of God in truth, and you do not seek anyone's favor, but you do not look at the outward appearance of people. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay head tax to Caesar or not?" But Jesus, knowing their wickedness, said, "Why do you put me to the test, hypocrites? Show me the tax coin." They brought him a denarius. He said to them, "Whose image and inscription is this?" They said, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Pay back therefore Caesar's things to Caesar, but God's things to God." When they heard that, they were amazed, and they left him and went away. So what does that mean? Caesar makes the laws. He makes the rules, right? That's the ruler over you, right? So what do the rules say? The rules say it's illegal to come into a country illegally, to come into a country without the proper permitting and paperwork, right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get me to what you're actually trying to do, right? You're actually trying to get me to disobey Jesus because you feel sorry for someone who's breaking the law. Because Jesus told me to pay Caesar's things to Caesar, follow his law, pay the taxes that he set and all that, and pay God's things to God. Don't try to use God's word as an excuse to break Caesar's law. That's what that's teaching you right there. But that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing, Daniel. You are sympathetic or empathetic towards criminality. So you're using God's word to justify criminal behavior. You actually use you try to use what Jesus said, right? You're trying to use what Jesus said as an excuse to break the law. But it's not going to work. The only law you can violate in Jesus' name is a law that prohibits you from serving Jesus or serving God. That's it. But when it comes to Caesar saying these people can't come in this country without proper documentation, God don't give you the right to just override that and be like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Even the people coming into the country are breaking God's law, but call themselves Christians. So please stop trying to use biblical verses to justify your criminal and degenerate behavior. It doesn't work that way. You're just like the Pharisees who tried to trip up Jesus. You can go straight to hell with that, as far as I'm concerned. And what did it say? When they heard that, they were amazed. When they heard that, they were amazed because they were stupid. Because they were stupid. And they had no wisdom. And you prove you have no wisdom when you say stuff like what you said. If the law say the illegals can't come in here illegally, follow the law. If you don't like the law, there's a mechanism within this country for you to change the law. But the reality is, majority of Americans don't support changing that law. And you don't like that. So even though you scream democracy, democracy, you only want democracy when it's when democracy is in agreement with you. But when democracy is not in agreement with you, then you don't care about democracy. God damn, you're stupid. How about you go read what the fuck I told you? I did read it. That's how dumb you are. I did read what you told me to read. And it had nothing to do with illegal immigrants. It was like, be kind to a stranger. It didn't say harbor a damn criminal. There's a difference. I can give food and shelter to a bum, but if I do that to a bank robber, I'm an accomplice. Do you think we're stupid? God says we are to have borders to protect our territories. 100%. Damn, Daniel. Hell you. The audience whooping you harder than me. I'm gonna let you live, bro. I'm gonna let you live. You're a black ass almost wound up as an immigrant. No, I didn't. Now you mad. Now you're gonna be racist to me, which is okay. You have a right to be racist. Guess what, motherfucker? Your black ass almost wound up as an immigrant. Oh, yeah, Abe Lincoln tried to recolonize all blacks to Mexico elsewhere, but Mexico said no, hence Liberia. Yeah, because Mexicans are racist. They don't want no niggas up over there. They don't even like the niggas they got. And some black people went to Liberia, but other black people chose to stay with you. And those black people don't want no illegal immigrants coming up in here. You mad? Why are you so mad? Because black people follow the law and you're just a criminal-minded degenerate. Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. Your understanding of law is severely flawed. Lady, shut up. The law been the law for forever. Now we don't, you just don't understand. We understand just fine. Just because you hit menopause and all of a sudden you feel sorry for everybody, don't mean we got to let our country be overrun by degenerate criminals. I don't care if they white, Mexican, Haitian, get they black ass up out of here too. I did a whole show telling the Haitians, we let y'all stay here long enough. Y'all made $30 billion out of this economy. If y'all couldn't fix Haiti with that, ain't no helping you. Take your ass back over there to barbecue. Yeah, he's the leader of the freaking the gangs. Barbecue, gonna barbecue your ass. Send them back. I did a whole show, 2 shows on it. Y'all mad because we won't let y'all cousins break the law, and that's okay. We know you're mad, but it's not our fault. And then my thing with Mexican people is this. Y'all already gave y'all country up to the drug cartels and the Jews and shit with Scheinbaum. When y'all let the cartel in here do the toxic empathy, y'all want me to believe y'all suddenly gonna develop a backbone and stand up to him? Man, y'all gonna let El Chapo take this bitch over. Y'all not gonna do anything better with America than the white man did with it. Because at least the white man said, look, we gonna let criminals run the government, but at least they elected criminals. You guys lost your country to drug cartel leaders who are illiterate. Because, oh, we're going to give you a couple of $100 a month so you don't say nothing to the police and authorities while we take over your town and kill people. Let's be real. I saw this dumb little kid. He was like, man, I go to Mexico every weekend. The cartel doesn't even mess with people. Unless you're a dumb fuck, then they don't even bother you. What? Y'all will defend the very cartels y'all live in fear of. My friend, my mailman, he said, I hated Trump. He's Hispanic. He's Mexican. He said, I hated Trump. He said, but bro, my brother's a doctor in Mexico. And I went and visited him. And I saw him giving envelopes of money to people, and they would come in like once or twice a week. He said, bro, why are you giving these people money? He said, yeah, they work for the cartel. They make me pay protection money every week. He said, at that moment, I support Trump 100%. Y'all want us to live like that. Y'all so stupid that you want to create a situation where Americans have to live under the thumb of a damn drug cartel. Because y'all not going to fight them. Y'all scared. Why would you want to turn your country into a third world den of degeneracy and criminality? I mean, we have our criminals and shit, but for the most part, our criminals know, fuck with them. Don't fuck with them over there. What are you going to do when, what's one of the names of them cartels y'all run? The Zetas? You're Mexican and you don't know the cartels? What type of Mexican are you, dude? This dude don't even know his own ancestors. Dude, how dare you? I want you to go home and learn every cartel, okay?
You go to a bar, random people, they see you pass money. Those normal people are working for the cartel.
I already know. I've been out there, Revolution Street, Rosarito. If they see you clocking dough, unless they own the bar, then they'll let you spend all the money you want because it's coming back to them. But if you balling too hard, they're gonna come back at you. Don't go to Purple Rain. All day. And the taxi drivers too, they'll take you in 100 circles before they drop you off right around the corner. They'll get on the freeway and all that. Like, what the hell? I saw that billboard 3 times. But yeah, but I'm just telling you guys, like, bro, no. That's why I like the Mexicans, the Hispanics who appreciate America. They don't even want y'all ass over here with that bullshit. They want to work and get paid a reasonable wage, not destroy the wages because y'all feel sorry for a bunch of people trying to come over. Every man has the obligation to make his country great. And you don't make your country great by leaving. That's for sure. I like those people in Venezuela. Once they got Maduro's ass up out of there, they said, all right, man, we ready to make a deal. Now they're doing well. You're just criminal-minded, Daniel. You're just a damn degenerate. You're no good. You have a mentality that only a mother could love. And we're not going to stand for it. But anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go have some coffee. I suggest you guys all do the same. Take care of your children. Do not let the cartel member spend the night at your house because you're going to jail in hell with him when we come get his ass. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate every single thing you do for me in this channel. Till the next time, do me a favor. Take care of yourselves, but most importantly, please take care of each other.